man, look what I was able to create for myself. That creation creates confidence. To go from that weak kid to where I'm at today just builds repetitions of confidence, of how much courage I had to have and overcome from the pain, of how much I had to take on my life every single day, of all these things I had to overcome. It was like, oh man, this is powerful. This can be empowering if I'm willing to rewrite this. So take note of all the lessons in each season of your life and look at where you're at right now and just lean into them. It's okay if you don't know what your purpose is, but the goal that you should have right now is, how can I be purpose? If I don't know my purpose, how can I be purpose? And being purpose means showing up positively, showing up generously, showing up with gratitude and appreciation for life, showing up with a joy for life, an expression of like, man, it's great to be alive. And how can I add value? That's what this is about. Purpose grows from contribution, not from completion. So it's not about, oh, I need to contemplate my life, I need to complete something, and then I'll feel purposeful. It's about showing up and just being joy every single day. That's purpose. Support for the School of Greatness comes from Robert Half. Need contract help for those workload peaks and backlog projects? Well, you're not alone. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies surveyed said they will increase their use of contract work. And that's why their recruiters leverage their experience and use award-winning AI to quickly find the skilled candidates that you want. Learn about our specialized talent in finance, accounting, technology, marketing, and legal and administrative support. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. The sixth thing, you need to speak to your money, love, and your purpose like they're people. Now, this may sound a little weird, but Rhonda Byrne says your feelings are your greatest tool to help you create your life. Your thoughts create your feelings. Now, there's a story I talk about, and I talk about it a lot from this book, Make Money Easy, as I just went through this process around money, is I want you to ask yourself right now, wherever you're sitting, wherever you're watching this right now, if money was a person and they showed up in your life in this moment, they walked in the room, they walked in front of you, and the idea of everything you think about money was in a person's form, and it walked in front of you, how would you respond? How would you think? How would you feel? What would you say? How would you act? If money were a person, how would you respond? Would you be excited to see money and grateful? Would you be nervous and scared? Would you hate money and say, get away from me? How would you react and respond? I'd love to hear your comment below on how you would respond. I asked someone in their late 20s, I said, if money walked in the door and you were at a restaurant, what would you do? And this person said, I would walk up and go to the bar and hide. I would leave my seat and hide by the bar. And then I would start talking bad about money behind its back as it was walking in. And then if it came up to me, I would act like I was his friend. Then I would use and abuse money when I needed money, and then I would ghost it if it ever reached out to me. And I was like, wow, this is a very descriptive experience, an honest experience. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like you have a very unhealthy relationship with money. And they were like, yes, I do. I was like, well, at least you're self-aware. That's good. But our money relationship, the relationship we have with money and how we interpret money is going to impact whether we're manifesting an abundant, creating more abundance of it in our lives, or we're blocking it with every situation we see it. So you need to be thinking about, if money were a person and it walked in, how would I respond? And again, this goes back to your money story and your money personality style. We need to be healing and mending this relationship that we have with money, with love, with health, with family. We need to be mending this, because you attract people, you attract money based on the psychological wound you have with that thing, or with that person, or with that idea of that thing. So once you start to heal and become whole psychologically and emotionally within you, that's when you can start to create abundance outside of you, create a flow coming to you. But otherwise, we're going to be blocking things for not shifting that psychological wound. And the seventh and final thing is that the richest life is one where you feel free. If you want to manifest correctly, the richest life is one where you feel free. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but inner peace is the new rich. Most people want to have cars and they think about buying a home and they want to get fancy watches and they want to have all the bling and they want to be able to spend money on fancy vacations and they think they want all these things. But in reality, inner peace is the new rich. Because with all those things, if you are stressed, if you are constantly living in fight or flight mode, if you are overwhelmed, if you don't feel lovable, if you don't feel enough, then all the money in the world, all the fancy things, all the Instagram posts of you in front of fancy cars isn't going to mean squat if you don't feel the peace and harmony within you. The greatest gift you can give yourself is inner peace, is feeling peaceful, is feeling abundant. And again, the richest life is one where you feel free. Because if you feel trapped, if you feel like a prisoner and you have all the money in the world, you're going to suffer. And you might be saying, people, if people have money, how could they suffer? It's because they haven't figured out the inner world. It's because their mind is playing tricks on them. And yes, life can be better with more money, but it doesn't mean someone doesn't have more problems if they haven't done the inner world, the inner manifesting, the inner healing first. Inner peace is the new rich. Don't just aim to get things. Aim to feel free enough to enjoy them when they arrive. And I'll leave you with this final story. I was living in an apartment building in Los Angeles 5 years ago during the pandemic. And it was a really fancy apartment building. It was a nice building. And a lot of successful people lived there. There was fancy cars, cars that were worth hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in and out of the driveway every day. There were people of all walks of life, celebrities, billionaires. People had second apartments there from other homes. They were flying in and out. And one weekend I went away on a trip and I was driving back into the valet to the building. And there was a white tent in the valet in the building down in front of the building. And I was driving into the valet. And the valet attendant came up to get my car to park it. And I jokingly said, "Someone didn't jump, did they?" And he looked at me like a ghost. And he said, "Yeah, they did just about an hour ago." And I was like, it like broke my mind. Because I go, "Are you serious? Like someone actually jumped from this building?" He was like, "Yes." And I found out who it was later. And I later found out that this person was worth about $500 million, was a well-known business person in Los Angeles, had all the biggest relationships with celebrities and politicians, and had all the success and the accolades, had all the money, and yet he didn't have inner peace. And for me, that's really sad. It's really sad when someone's driven to accomplish and achieve more, but they don't know how to achieve more within them, and they hurt themselves that much. And I don't want this to be you. I don't want you to put up vision boards of making millions of dollars and having fancy watches and cars and vacations without creating inner peace within you first. I don't want you constantly visualizing, accomplishing your goals if you're not feeling good with you first. I want you to have everything you want. I want you to go after every goal, every dream. Make all the money you want in the world, but do it from a place of inner peace. Do it from a place of loving and accepting yourself. Do it from a place of knowing you are worthy and loved for where you're at and how you're becoming more to add value to the world. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.